Okay, so just now we finally have confirmation on the first few projects that are going to be a part of James Gunn's Chapter 1, which I guess is kind of akin to the Phase 1, if you would call it, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for the DC Studios, they're titling Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. And James Gunn uploaded like about approximately a 6-minute video kind of detailing some of the major projects that are going to be announced. And I think some of the major one that people are excited for is his Superman movie, which we now know is titled Superman Legacy, which will release the same year as the sequel to Matt Reeves' The Batman, titled The Batman Part 2. And I believe the release date for the Superman film would be July 11th, 2025. And the sequel to The Batman is set to release October 3rd, 2025. So I guess this was kind of something that a lot of fans speculated that, you know, it would kind of kickstart, because he stated that his universe would really kickstart after the release of Aquaman and Lost Kingdom. So I guess 2025 is really going to be a big year, as this is the first time we're getting a both theatrical Batman and Superman film. And alongside with Batman, we're also going to get, you know, 2 theatrical versions of Batman, that being one with Matt Reeves and a new Batman movie titled The Brave and the Bold, which is at works and is pretty much going to focus on the dynamic of Bruce Wayne as Batman and Damian Wayne Robin. Now, I am excited for this, but it's just kind of in, like, you know, James Gunn also stated in that video that this will be kind of like an introduction to like the Bat family. But I was kind of hoping that they would go with like a more like a previous Robin before they get to Damian. Like, I didn't think Damian would be like the introductory kind of Robin. Like, yeah, I think it'd probably be like Dick going into Nightwing, or like possibly like a Tim Drake type of role. You know, I made a video how I said I wanted Tim Drake to play a role in the DCU, so I guess that's a little disappointing that it's not Tim, or like maybe we see Dick go from Robin to Nightwing, but that's still a possibility through like flashbacks or anything. But this does remind me of the DC animated movie universe with Son of Batman, where that was like the third movie in that universe after Justice League War and Flashpoint, in which that movie really focused on the introduction of Damian Wayne, and he was the only other Robin outside of Dick Grayson as Nightwing. So they might go that route, they might not, but yeah, those are like the really big 3. And then alongside that, they announced a Booster Gold TV show on HBO Max, and, you know, some other shows with an Amanda Waller spinoff and an animated show called Creature Commandos. And then it's just kind of like going in hand with how James Gunn really is set on the emphasis of trying to make everything connected alongside all mediums and platforms, whether it's video games, movies, TV shows, like kind of like the MCU. But I think this is even more so than the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is only connected through movies and TV, but now it's like, oh yeah, I want TV shows, movies, animation, video games, the whole 9 yards. And anything outside of that, which would be like the Matt Reeves Batman or Teen Titans Go, he stated, or Todd Phillips' Joker would be like Elseworld. So he's really going in on the interconnectivity of this universe. But another really big thing that a lot of fans were hoping for was a Green Lantern project, because a while back HBO Max was making a Green Lantern show that was going to focus on Guy Gardner and Alan Scott and like a bunch of lanterns, but then that got kind of shifted into a Jon Stewart Green Lantern show. So now that Green Lantern show, titled Lanterns, will focus on Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart as they kind of solve like a certain mystery of some sort, and it might feature other lanterns as well. And another cool thing that was announced was a Swamp Thing horror film at DC, and, you know, I think that's just kind of going hand with the title of like Gods and Monsters as like the Chapter 1 of this universe, and really kind of going out the mystical element of the DC universe, which I think would be a great introduction to also do hopefully like Justice League Dark. I hope that's something they lead towards as well, you know, with like Zatanna and Constantine and all that. And another thing here is a Supergirl movie titled Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is based off of, like, takes inspiration from Tom King's book of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, and kind of how she you know, was brought up, and like her upbringing with, like, you know, seeing Krypton kind of destroyed, and kind of like that aspect and the differences between her and Superman. And this is the first time we are getting a Wonder Woman TV show since, like, I believe Linda Carter. I guess it's titled Paradise Lost, which focuses on the Amazons and like Themyscira before the events of the Wonder Woman movies. So it's kind of like Wonder Woman's version of like Gotham or Smallville. You know, like each member of the Trinity has like a sort of prequel, like surrounding or centered around like where they're from. You know, like if Gotham, Smallville, and then you know have Paradise Lost, which should be a really good, you know, indication on, because I mean I guess that's like a really good introductory role for the future of DC. I don't know if they're gonna keep Gal Gadot or not, or if they'll do something else. But I guess that's just kind of wraps up what really captures what their movie and TV show plan for Gods and Monsters. You have Booster Gold, Swamp Thing, Paradise Lost, Green Lantern, Amanda Waller, Superman Legacy, Creature Commandos, The Brave and the Bold, and Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And one thing is also The Authority, which is like another project that James Gunn is working on. He goes in detail about some of like the lesser known stuff with like Creature Commandos or The Authority in his video on Twitter, so you can check that out. But yeah, it's really big news for 2025, specifically the fact that you're getting two really big movies. Yeah, and the fact that 2 Batman movies are in the works at DC. So like, you know, they're going to be swimming in cash for the next few years. And you know, the Green Lantern thing is another project that myself and many fans alike were really waiting for and hoping for this DC universe. And Peter Safran kind of states how like the Green Lantern series is kind of like takes inspiration from like True Detective. You know, one of the things I was actually looking forward to was like the possibility of like a buddy cop type thing with Hal and John. And it seems like that Aquaman 3 is also happening, and you know, Jason Momoa is always saw it as Aquaman as a trilogy. So I guess it's not like a 100% reboot, but kind of like a broad reset, kind of like reshaping what the future of this universe will be. You know, kind of just making sure everything is more in line and everything is more cohesive. And like the DC Elseworlds is going to include like the part 2 to the Batman, and you know, the Joker sequel, like the musical, and I guess like the Ta-Nehisi Coates' Black Superman movie that with like J.J. Abrams has been in development for a while. And I remember that was also announced with the decision to cast a younger actor as Superman. So if that's the case for the Superman movie that's going to come out in 2025, then we should probably hear casting maybe sometime late this year, maybe early next year, the latest. And then we should also see more developments with the Batman 2, or I guess the Batman Part 2, as those are really going to be the biggest movies for the year of 2025. But yeah, so far the slate for DC is looking pretty good, and it's just that they kind of, it's just like a new beginning for DC, as you know, James Gunn also said that they won't have actors kind of playing more than one role. So I guess that kind of debunks the whole Jason Momoa as Lobo. So I guess we're still kind of curious as to like what Jason Momoa was so excited about. I mean, maybe it was just straight up in Aquaman 3, you know, we're not entirely sure, but I guess we'll just see as more developments go up. And as I'm, you know, make a video on this, there's probably going to be a ton of more news from like news outlets and kind of just revealing more stuff about information, maybe some casting, some TV shows, stuff like that. But I can't wait to see what happens, and let me know which project you're most excited for in the comments.